Have you ever reached a point where even waking up feels like stepping onto a battlefield? When your body rises but your soul stays buried beneath the weight of life. When your spirit falls silent, not because it has nothing to say, but because it's been screaming for too long and no one seemed to notice. You move through your day with rehearsed smiles and empty eyes, nodding in conversations while your heart is begging for rest. You're not just tired, you're spiritually fractured, emotionally frayed, mentally worn down to your last breath. And now you feel like you have nothing left, not because you're weak, but because you've given everything. And somehow, in those moments when you feel forgotten by the world, God is pressing in closest. When the silence feels suffocating, when your prayers feel like echoes, when your soul can barely whisper His name, He is there. Exhaustion is not failure. Being empty is not the evidence of defeat. It's proof that you've been fighting invisible wars. You've stood when it would have been easier to fall. You've encouraged others while your own heart was unraveling. You've prayed when your voice cracked from pain. You've held others while silently wondering who would ever hold you. God has seen every step of your hidden sacrifice. He's witnessed the burden you carry behind closed doors. He knows what no one claps for, the quiet faith, the relentless tears, the pressure to stay strong for everyone else. He knows the pain behind your strength, the tears that never fall, the smiles that hide your trembling soul. And He's not disappointed. He's not asking you to push harder. He's inviting you to be honest, to say, God, I'm worn out, not because He needs your confession, but because you need His comfort. And it starts with truth, not performative strength, but raw surrender. Some of the strongest people walk through life looking invincible, while inside they're breaking under invisible weight. They pose, they show up, they lead, they smile, but behind it all there's a quiet storm, anxiety, fatigue, spiritual warfare. You don't see the sleepless nights, the trembling hands, the whispered prayers through tears. But God does, and He isn't watching from a distance. He's kneeling beside you. He's not shaking His head. He's holding your heart, because the God who formed the stars never asked you to carry galaxies on your shoulders. He asked you to rest in Him. The world celebrates hustle, but heaven calls you to stillness. God isn't impressed by your non-stop pace. He's not measuring your worth by your output. He's whispering, stop striving, start surrendering. The reason you're so drained might be because you've been living in your own strength for too long, trying to hold everything together, fix everyone, plan every outcome. But you weren't created to be a machine. You were created to be a vessel, and a vessel must first be emptied to be filled. You don't earn God's nearness by performance. You receive it through surrender. He's not waiting for perfection. He's waiting for permission to step into your exhaustion, to enter your storm, to remind you, you are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not broken beyond repair. You are His, and that alone makes you worthy. Even Jesus, the Son of the living God, rested. He withdrew. He wept. He felt pain. He didn't fake strength. He embodied surrender. That's why His invitation in Matthew 11:28 isn't to the strong, the powerful, or the perfect. It's to the weary. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Not shallow sleep, not surface level calm, but deep, soul-altering rest. Rest that heals what hustle has wounded. So if you're worn out right now, don't run from God. Don't pretend. Don't power through. Just come as you are, with the shaking hands, the tear-streaked face, the silent heart. You don't need eloquent prayers. You don't need spiritual fireworks. You just need to show up honestly, because it's in that sacred honesty that transformation begins. He doesn't heal the mask. He heals the soul beneath it, the raw, tired, desperate soul that's finally ready to release what it was never meant to carry. You don't have to impress God. You don't have to prove your strength. He already knows your breaking point. He's seen your rock bottom, and still He calls you His. Not once in Scripture did God walk away from the broken. He runs toward them. He restores them. He resurrects them. And that's what He's ready to do for you. Not patch you up, not prop you up, but raise you, rebuild you, renew you. So take a breath. Exhale the weight. Inhale His peace. You are not being punished. You're being prepared. This isn't the end of your story. This is the beginning of something sacred, something holy. Because where you feel most empty is where God is about to pour the most. Sometimes God lets everything fall apart. So we'll finally stop trying to hold it all together. It's not just tiredness, it's soul-deep depletion. You try to pray but can't find the words. You open your Bible but feel nothing. You go to church, but your heart feels disconnected. And you start to wonder, what's wrong with me? Where is God in all of this? But maybe the emptiness isn't absence. Maybe it's preparation. Maybe He's clearing the space in you that you filled with striving and control. Maybe the breaking is Him making room, because in God's hands, emptiness is never the end, it's the beginning of divine infilling. When your strength is gone, it's not punishment, it's positioning. He's setting the stage for power you've never known. Not from you, but from Him. We fill ourselves with noise, with plans, with control. And in doing so, we leave no room for God's power to breathe through us. So He strips. He allows the silence, the weariness, the unanswered questions. Not because He's cruel, but because He's refining. He's pruning. And every cut has purpose. Every pause carries power. You ask, why would a loving God let me feel this empty? But look again. He let Moses reach the Red Sea with no options, so he'd see His glory. He let Gideon lose thousands in his army, so the victory would clearly be God's. He let Elijah weep in a cave, suicidal and done, before whispering into his soul. He meets people in emptiness, because that's where dependence is born. When you've got nothing left, that's when you finally see who really sustains you. And when God fills you, He doesn't just top you off. He overflows. He doesn't offer motivational fluff. He gives resurrection power. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the grave is inside of you. This isn't poetic. It's reality. You don't need a better mindset. You need the Spirit of God alive in you. And He's ready. Emptiness exposes what you've been carrying that was never yours. It opens your hands, it quiets your pride, it tunes your ears to heaven, it teaches you the hunger that matters, not for success, applause, or approval, but for righteousness. And God promises that if you hunger and thirst for Him, you will be filled. Not might, not someday, you will. But here's the key. You have to stop fighting the process. Stop patching holes with temporary highs. Stop numbing with noise and calling it peace. What God offers doesn't leak. It stays, it roots, it transforms. But only when we stop trying to fix ourselves with flesh and start trusting the hand of the one who formed us. You might still feel numb. You might still feel dry, but don't misinterpret the silence. Seeds grow in hidden places. Healing begins beneath the surface. And right now, even when nothing seems to be changing, God is working. Right now, while you feel weakest, He is filling you, forming you, forging something eternal. So don't despise this place. Don't curse the silence. Don't rush the breaking. This is not abandonment. This is alignment. The drained places in your life are being marked for divine encounter. And soon the place of your greatest weakness will become the stage of God's greatest glory. There are moments in life where the weight becomes unbearable. You're surrounded by pressure, financial pressure, emotional pressure, spiritual pressure, and everything in you screams for relief. You try to stand, but your knees buckle. You try to believe, but your heart questions. You start wondering if you're doing something wrong. Why is this happening to me? Why does everything feel like it's closing in? But what if the pressure is the process? What if God is not punishing you, but preparing you? What if what feels like breaking is actually birthing something greater? You see, there's always purpose in pressure. God never wastes pain. He allows pressure to stretch you, to strengthen your core, to prepare you for weight you don't even know is coming. Think about a seed. Before it blooms, it's buried, pressed by dirt, hidden in darkness, cut off from light. But that pressure forces it to form roots, and those roots make room for growth. Without the dark, the seed would never stretch. Without pressure, there's no breakthrough. You're not buried, you're planted. The weight you feel isn't your end. It's evidence of what's growing underground. God is forming something that the world hasn't seen yet, but they will soon. Remember Joseph? He endured betrayal, slavery, false accusations, and prison before the palace. David ran for his life before wearing the crown. Esther risked death before she saw deliverance. Even Jesus wept in Gethsemane, crushed by the weight of destiny before resurrection came. Pressure always precedes power. God uses it to reveal what's inside us. The fear, the doubt, the ego. He brings it to the surface not to shame us, but to heal us. He burns away what doesn't belong because He loves us too much to leave us as we are. It won't feel good. Growth never does. But trust the hands that are holding you. He's not breaking you. He's shaping you. He knows exactly how much you can take. He will not let it destroy you, only redefine you. And as the pressure increases, so does your strength. Not your own, but His in you. He is building your roots deep, so your life won't collapse when the winds come. He is building your faith in fire, your endurance in affliction, your worship in the wilderness. And it won't just change you, it will change those around you. Your resilience will inspire. Your testimony will transform. Your scars will speak of God's sustaining grace. Because pressure doesn't just prepare you, it reveals who God really is. A God who doesn't flinch at fire. A God who walks with you in darkness. A God who strengthens you for more than survival, but for victory. He's not pacing heaven wondering how your story ends. He wrote it, and what He writes, no storm can erase. What He begins, no demon can destroy. So hold the line, trust the pressure, and watch what comes out of it. You are not losing, you are becoming, and soon what nearly crushed you will be the very thing that crowns you.